Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's video we are going to talk about how do you really live happily and also enjoy your quality of life, celebrate it, experience that joy of actually being successful. Because you may think that if I get what I want, I am going to be happy. And I coach so many people, especially a lot of people who have achieved a lot in their life, but there is this sense of dissatisfaction that is lingering around, even if they have achieved everything that the society told them, that you need to have a job, or you need to have this much amount of money, you need to have this car, you need to have such kind of a home, or you need to have children by this age, you have to get married by that age. They have it all, but I still see a sense of dissatisfaction, and it is so important to address why does this sense of unhappiness and dissatisfaction get created in our life. And this is also one of the reasons why the emotional and mental experience of so many people living in this world is not quite positive. So this is not another positive thinking video. I'm not going to ask you to think positively, but I'm going to ask you to look at your patterns and your life very objectively. So if you enjoy this kind of content which helps you to grow in your life, then you can subscribe to my channel, especially if you like to go deeper and understand the root cause of your patterns and how you can change them for better happiness and success. Let's get started with the video. Now, people whose general lens of looking at the world is very, very unsatisfactory, or they look at the world from the lens of dissatisfaction, are the people who generally stay disappointed and unhappy, or you will see the state of unhappiness being repeated more than the state of happiness in their life, because we are not always in a positive mood. Some days we are grumpy, some days we are happy, some days we are joyful, some days we are frustrated. So there are different states of being. But if generally you are more into the negative states throughout the day or throughout the week, throughout the month especially, and if it is repeating and repeating and it's getting collected, it's not a very healthy sign to live in that particular state. Hence we need to change those states. So people who look at life from a state of dissatisfaction are always able to see what's wrong, what is not available, what is not happening according to them, and they will run in that direction to fix thing, and that thing will run away more from them, creating more dissatisfaction in their life. Now the quality of our life is dependent on what we choose to focus on. Do we choose to focus on what is going according to us, or what is really happening for us, or do we choose to focus on things that are not going according to us, or we see it in another lens and we are very stubborn about this is the only lens. If I give you an idea, let's say that you constantly thinking that people around you, they don't love you, or you don't deserve their love because they're not loving you the way you want to be loved. So let's say that the people cook for you, or the people just take care that there are some resources that are always available for you, but they may not be somebody who are expressing it all the time. So you would end up saying that because I do not get love in the form of verbal expression, I am dissatisfied, and you choose to completely not look at the efforts that they are putting to help you actually grow or to help you feel better. So yeah, you can say that I appreciate your efforts, but I'm also someone who likes to want it verbally. So you can actually go and say that I like verbal appreciation. Now whether they want to give it to you, do not want to give it to you, depends on their upbringing, how they think about love, how they feel about love. So you cannot force on to somebody to change their love language, but you can express saying that yeah, this is my love language, and maybe because your love language is words of expression, affirmation and appreciation, you may use that more. So there has to be an understanding that what is whose love language, and that is how things can go better. But if you get very stubborn about this is the only form of love that I am trying to accept in my life, you're going to feel unloved most of your life, because it's very hard for people first to change their love language, the love language that they use for others. We can be little flexible when it comes to receiving, but when it comes to giving, making the changes are even harder. I'm not saying they are impossible, but people who have a lens of dissatisfaction, they'll come to a conclusion that because it is not happening my way, I am unloved, I am unworthy, I'm going to stay unhappy, and this is how it is going to continue into my life. So it is a place where your ego is getting so powerful, your stubbornness, your rigidity is getting so powerful. And now, why does this happen? Let's say that there's a very poor family, and somebody who decided to donate things has just gone and given something to the family. And the father is refusing to take, saying that, I don't take donations and charity for all of that. And there are three children sitting, hungry at home. So, do you think this lens of the father, that I'm not going to take charity, is actually the correct lens for the children's perspective, especially because the children are going to sleep hungry maybe that night, and if they just accept the donation, at least the children are going to get fed. This is the story of Tony Robbins. He shares all the time that there was a Thanksgiving dinner, and somebody had donated, and his father was in a very egoistic mode, but the delivery boy says that, hey sir, because of your ego, don't let your children suffer hunger. And Tony Robbins finds out the meaning out of that whole scenario, that strangers care. And he is one of the people who donates a lot and who does a lot of social work for other people, because he took out the lesson that strangers care. He did not take out the lesson what his father was looking at, that I am incapable of feeding my children and I am such a bad person and all of that. So people have their own ways of making meanings out of the situation. And if you have identified from today's video that your formula of taking out meaning from the situations is quite spoiled, then take the responsibility to actually change it, because changing that is going to create a wonderful experience of living in this world. Because there are so many things, there are so many things that are going according to us and they're happening good for us, but we are not able to pay attention to those things. Even if you have a working body, it is a huge thing, because so many people, they don't have that. Even let's say that if some part of your body is not in the best shape, but the others are, other senses are working, it is important to acknowledge it. At least start with a small acknowledgement that yes, this is happening. But why do we hold on to the lens of dissatisfaction so rigidly? Because when I'm working with clients, I can sense that rigidity coming out during the sessions. It is because of what is happening in the background and what our real human needs are. So these human needs can be understood through various formats and methods that were given by many psychologists and researchers, but I like to use the need pyramid and the needs mentioned by Tony Robbins. So the first need is the need for certainty. We want to know that I am going to have food on my plate, I have a roof on my head. So your basic needs, that you're going to look at the same people around when you get up every single morning, it is a huge need. Second is the need for uncertainty as well. Now people always have a tug of war between whether I need more uncertainty or certainty, but we need both, and we need to swim in both the areas of life in order to have a fullest experience of life, right? So in order to ensure your certainty, maybe you want to work so that you have money, so that you have food to eat and your loved ones also have food to eat. So it's very, very important, but your sense of certainty should not come from external factors all the time. External factors are important, but learn to create your own certainty and your life will give you more opportunities to explore uncertainties. Okay, so the second need is for uncertainty, for variety. The third need is for significance and growth. Fourth need is for love, affection from others. The fifth need is for growth, and the sixth one is for contribution. So growth, that you are seeing progress in your life, and contribution is that you're also making other people grow, and that is such a profound space to be in. But what happens is that a lot of times unconsciously our biggest needs are the need for certainty and for significance for a lot of people. And by holding on to the past, or by constantly finding faults in what's going wrong, or by the pain and the victim story that you are telling yourself, you may be getting a lot of significance and attention. Okay, and you may have picked up on this pattern because maybe by doing some healthy things you were not getting that attention in the past. But today, when you have this awareness, especially after watching this video, just decide that if I have the need for significance, I'm going to work for it so that I get that significance. Let's say you are really doing good work in the world. How will you not be recognized? But it's important to first recognize yourself that I am good at this skill, I need to work hard on this. But if you are looking for an entitlement that without work I should get acknowledgement, it is a very unhealthy demand that you have, because you're not going to get that unless and until you are contributing to somebody's lives or somebody's experiences through your resources, through your natural talents, your gifts. Why would somebody even acknowledge, right? Even if that is warmth, even if that is nurturance. And before anybody else acknowledges, first you need to acknowledge that, hey, I have these gifts and these are gifts. For example, some people they downplay their own gifts, or other people downplay their gifts. For example, if some woman has decided that now I want to pay attention to my child is very small, I don't want to go and work, and I want to nurture my child really, and everybody starts to tell her, hey, you were on this big position in the company, now what are you doing sitting at home, and you are all messed up in these small stuff, and you're not that significant now. But she recognizes the significance of that job, of how important it is for a child to actually feel the warmth of her mother or his mother initially, especially when the baby is really small, less than 18 years. The baby needs care and warmth, not specifically from the mother only, but from people in general. That warmth is required for the sense of safety for the child. But what we are doing here, we are downplaying the importance of nurturance. We are not giving it the importance that it deserves, and that's why you see that a lot of women will have to get into unhealthy and unnecessary fights for significance, and even they don't realize it why they are doing it, and even people around them don't realize it, that why they are doing it. So whatever it is, do that. And a lot of people also think that if I get significance, then only I'm worthy of love. Okay, so these are the people who are over giving, over appreciating, or anything they are doing to an extent where they are burning out. When I say too much, I'm saying that they are drained, they are burning out, because they think that by doing all of this they're going to be feel loved by doing all of this. The best thing, when you are doing these things and they are going in a very unhealthy way, is to recognize what my needs are. It's very important, and just learn to take care of most of the needs by yourself. I'm not saying not because nobody cares, or strangers don't care, and you'll have people in your life who don't care. But by just changing your lens, you'll just start to see that how much people care, and humans care for each other. After seeing so many things and hearing so many stories, I'll still say that there's a lot of goodness in this world, there's a lot of care in this world, there's a lot of love in this world. But by doing all of this, making all of a mess and chaos out of our needs, we're not able to look at what is really happening for the good of you and for the good of so many other things. So you can really start with being grateful for as small thing as you landed upon this video or any other video that you saw. You can be grateful for any kind of guidance that you get. There are people who have amples of money to pay for guidance, consulting, this, that. But there are few people who get the right match of the, coach and the client, or therapist or the client, or, where they really click. So even if, you get the right guidance for yourself at the right time, personally, I feel this has been the biggest saving grace in my life, that there's somebody who comes and guides me and helps me to see the world from a different perspective. And if you start being grateful for these things, even the smallest thing, I'm not asking you to fake gratitude, but even the smallest thing that's happening, when you start to acknowledge that, your lens starts to shift. And there is a technique to break this lens actually, which I have helped a lot of clients do, is you start to appreciate yourself for the smallest actions that you are taking in the direction of your growth. Because see, as soon as your needs start to grow towards, from this certainty, uncertainty, variety and all of this to real growth, real contribution to the world, all of the other things will just come on to you. But you really have to then work towards something that's bigger than yourself, which does not serve only you, but it serves a lot of people along with you. And this is the biggest secret to actually get rich in the world or successful or whatever you want, whatever you call as your success. That sense of abundance and wholeness will come when you are ready to serve life with full of your heart, and without really asking that what am I going to get out of it. Now I'm not talking about where you are getting drained and burnt out and all of that, because see, every time you are giving in the place of where things are not valued, where there is no growth that you can see because of your contribution, you are seeking validation. And whenever you are giving in the areas where it really is helpful, you are serving. And that is how you know the difference. If you're watering a plant that does not need water right now, or it is already watered too much, or you are just pouring the whole tank in a plant which just needs sparkles of water, it's not the fault of the plant that you see. It is the person who's watering so much and pouring so much. The person just needs to take it and just water it in the direction where it is really required, where it is deserted and it's required, your nurturing is required, your contribution is required. So find these places out and learn to rise towards the needs and start working towards growth and contribution. And if you really feel that you are the unlucky one and all the bad things happen to you or anything, just join any social organization that works for any cause and see the real suffering of people. When you see what real suffering is, I'm not saying that your suffering is less than their suffering, but when you see real suffering, there is something so human in us that wants us to do more, be more, and serve more, and serve so powerfully. But what we do is that because of our own little suffering, we have blinders on towards the world and we're not able to look at anybody else's suffering at all. So we really need to look at it's that not how there are so many things that are missing in your life, but there's so many things that are missing in other people's life as well. So when you just see it, you are able to draw a connection. You're able to create some mutual give and take. You're able to create something and somebody creates something else for you. And that is the most beautiful thing human can experience. But that you can experience when you are having the intention that I want to change the lens, I want to look at growth, I want to look towards contribution. But if you are like, I want the certainty, I should always get love, I should always be happy, everybody else should make me happy, everybody else should do this, should do that. Whenever you see your brain always in this loop of shoulds and shoulds and shoulds, you know that you have a lens of disappointment. So just change it towards what your real needs are, start contributing in that direction, because you see that if your need for certainty is very high, you will be in the cage and you will complain and resent people saying that they have kept me in the cage. Unless and until you are not, terrified of any kind of, uncertainty in your life, you will sit in the cage and then complain that why am I in the cage, okay? So know that, whenever I am coaching, I'm with adults, right? And they have dealt with so many problems and challenges in their life. I just remind them that, hey, if you did that difficulty in that age, you took up that challenge, you were able to overcome it, then what stops you today? You are more matured, you have more resources than before, you've grown so much. What stops you today, right? But we give ourselves the evidences of not enoughness and how this world is such a bad place and all of that, and without really seeing that how the ground is open, but we are sitting in the cage of a cage whose door is actually open, but we sit there because we feel safe. See you in the next video. Subscribe to the channel if you loved what you see.